Hello and welcome back to Ayaron's world. Now I've been out here doing a little Enderman hunting. That's because now I've got plenty of blaze rods, now that the blaze farm is up and running. It's time to make those ender eyes so I can find the fortress. So I constructed myself a little ender-proof safety area here. Essentially that's a half slab and an upside down half slab. It's 3 high here so they can approach all the way up. I've got some cats here which kept the creepers away, and essentially I just stayed here for several nights. And I would just keep looking around, and whenever I saw an enderman I'd draw him to me and kill him. Now I've got 11 ender's eyes on me, but I've also got some down here. I put the eye in there just for safety. Basically I didn't want to keep them all on me just in case I died, so that seemed the safest thing. So I think we're done with that now. So let's head back to base and make these ender eyes, and then we can see about finding this fortress. Chunk loading still a bit slow. So I've been getting together a little kit ready for my sojourn off to the fortress, because, you know, once I find the fortress, then, you know, I intend to kill the dragon straight away. So I've been putting together a little kit. There's, you know, this is where I've got my other ender eyes, so I'll just grab those. Also got some blaze rods. Don't know if this is enough. I think that's enough, yes. So those blaze rods are enough to make those all into ender eyes. Now I've been enchanting stuff because of the blaze spawner. I've been getting lots of XP. So let's have a look at the kit I've put together, you know, in order to kill the dragon. First, we've got a nice pair of feather falling boots. I got lucky with those. First diamond boots, level 24 enchantment, feather falling, perfect. I've got projectile protection leggings, which is pretty good. It's not going to be as useful against the dragon because it doesn't have any projectiles, but, you know, still useful. That's just a nice solid protection chest plate. Very pleased with that. I've got a nice powerful sword, does lots of damage, and this is the best bit, the bow. Look at that. Punch 2, flame 1, power 4, and infinity. So I've been saving that for the dragon. So I'm going to bring loads of arrows and a spare bow, just in case. Need to make myself a fresh one. But that should take out the dragon pretty well. So let's make those ender eyes. Now I believe I need to make blaze powder as opposed to having blaze rods. And then I just put it with the ender eyes. There we go. Eye of Ender. Doesn't that look pretty in this texture pack? So these things have eyes of enders. Well, there is a crafting recipe which uses them, and we'll be doing that in a moment. The other two main uses are it helps you find the fortress and power the portal which leads to the end. So there we go. Oh, and they stack more than ender pearls do. So it's 48. There we go. 54. That should be plenty. Alright. So the other thing I want to do is I don't want to be carrying and wearing all this stuff while I try and find the fortress, because bad things may happen and then I would die and I would lose, you know, these awesome items. So I'm going to make an item that I've not made before called an ender chest. Most of you probably know about this, but those that don't, essentially it's a magical chest, and I'm going to make 2 of them, and I'll explain the properties in a moment. So you put an ender eye in the middle and you surround it by obsidian, and that makes an ender chest. So I'm going to replace this. This cat is... Look, get off. See, I can't use the chest while the cat's sat on it. And you need fish to lure them off. Well, I was about to destroy this chest anyway, so the joke's on you. There we go. Now don't you feel silly. Now where are you? You're... I want to tell this cat to sit. Otherwise it will go sit on the ender chest and then we'll be in a rather annoying thing. Okay. Sit. Sit. I left you guys sat by the ender searchy thing, didn't I? Or did I tell you to unsit when I came back? I can't remember. Okay. So we put down one of the ender chests here. Ooh. That looks scary. And it's a chest. So, I've put the equipment back in, and I've also been loading it up with some other stuff that I thought would just be useful to have. Because the thing with this chest is, if I put this chest here down somewhere else and open it, it's got the same contents. And if I was to say put that in there and go back to this one, there it is. So what this means is that I can have this chest here and I can fill it with my most valuable possessions or useful stuff that, you know, I might just want to grab, and I can carry one of these ender chests with me. And if I die, it doesn't matter because the contents is perfectly safe. And whenever I want anything, I can just take it out, whack it down, oh, there's an issue. Ah, okay. Well, I won't be doing that then. I thought you could pick ender chests up. It seems you can't, not unless you have a supply of ender eyes on you. Interesting. I thought I could carry that around, put it down whenever I wanted, extract equipment, pick it up again. Apparently not. It's still worth having a few of these dotted around though, so I'm going to make one more, and I won't put this one down, but what I'll do is I'll carry it with me, and when I reach the fortress I'll put it down there. So there's a few other preparations I wanted to make sure I had a bed with me. I don't think I've got a spare one of those, so there we go, because I'm going to be travelling trying to find the fortress, and I would like to be able to sleep through the night. Let me just put this spare iron away. I think I want to harvest some more bread if the wheat is fully grown. I recently replanted this, just going for maximum yield. I should get a few loaves of bread out of that. A spare bow, that's the other thing I needed. Just as an emergency backup. I mean, I've got a bow on me. I just want to make certain, because if your bow goes out, then taking out the dragon becomes rather tricky. I need some sticks. Okay, I think we're ready to go. Although we're going to make it daytime first, because I don't especially want to be wandering through the wilds in the night. So, I have a plan as to the most efficient way of finding... Whoa. Hello, Mr. Creeper. How did you spawn? You should not have been able to spawn there. You see that flaming zombie just falling down from up there. There must be a slightly dark spot somewhere near here, and then he just wandered over. Oh well. Right, so I have a plan as to the most effective way of finding this fortress. Now I can enact this plan from anywhere, but for the sake of some simplicity, I want to head to 00, which I don't think is that far away. Oh, let's not carry that in my hand. So this is the portal for my spawn. Although rather annoyingly, I did recently die without a bed in place, and I respawned down in that chasm, and I had to climb all the way out. Right. Okay, it seems 00 is all the way over here. I thought 00 would be near my spawn, but it isn't. Okay. Let's forget that. Let's do this actually just from the base. So I want a reasonably open space to start this. I'm just moving so those coordinates are nice round numbers. Again, entirely not necessary, but it's just to make things easier. Right. So I am standing at X200, Z400. Right? That's the spot there in the middle of my feet. Oops. And I'm going to throw one of these pearls straight up, and then I'm going to try and get to the square that it lands on. Hopefully it won't despawn. Okay, it was hovering. It was hovering sort of over here, wasn't it? When it fell, it sort of fell off to one side. So I'm going to say here. And again, I'll take down the coordinates. 208 by 390. So now I want to go back to my starting square. These cats are following me again. I thought I told you guys to sit. Right, which was 200 by 400. This is the reason why I chose a nice round number. So now I want to go 100 squares in a direction. Any direction will do. I'm going to choose this one because it's open. So I'm keeping Z at 400, and I'm going to go this way until X is 300. Okay, so now I want to note down this coordinate, 300 by 400, and I throw another ender eye. Let me just quick munch first. So just straight up in the air, so you don't bias it at all. Okay, that one broke. That makes it a little tricky. So I'm going to throw another one. Okay, so that was the direction. So we'll call it this square here, because again it seems to shift off slightly to the left when it falls to the ground. So 307 by 390. So these things always point to the nearest fortress. Now, there is a small chance that these two have pointed to different fortresses, but it's very, very unlikely. So if they are both pointing to the same fortress, then they should, then... Sorry, I'll explain this differently. What we've just got now is the coordinates of two lines. One line starts at x200, y400 and goes to 208, 390. The other one starts at 300, 400 and goes to 307, 390. And what we're going to do is we're going to find the coordinate where those two lines cross. Because although there might be some slight inaccuracy based on range and so on, we should get pretty close in doing that. And that way, rather than having to keep throwing ender eyes all the way on the entire trip, getting lost, going around in circles, wasting them and so on, we're going to use maths, algebra, to find out the location of this fortress. Now, we could do this with pen and paper and our brains, but we have access to more advanced technologies these days. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to find this using an internet tool which is available to anyone. And that way, technically, anyone should be able to find the fortress using only 2 or 3 ender eyes. Okay, so this is how you do it. Go to Google and type in Wolfram Alpha. Okay. Search. And it's the Wolfram Alpha Computational Knowledge Engine. Now, this is a very useful thing to know about. The first thing to realize is this program does not search the internet. What it does is give you the answers to things, the true answers to things. Like if you want to know what day of the week any date in history was, or what the weather was in a certain location, or anything. It'll do maths, it knows historical facts, it looks stuff up. If you just click on this examples button, it will give you a list of all the things it can do. It's very useful for all sorts of things. But we're here to play Minecraft, so now in order to find out where those two lines we've got intersect, we first need the algebraic formula for both the lines. So the way you get this is you've got to type this relatively exactly, otherwise Wolfram Alpha gets a little confused. So you're saying formula of line, and then you go, I'm just trying to remember this, of line through 200 by 400 and through 208, 390. So what you're saying there is you want the formula for a line, and the line goes through the coordinates 200 by 400 and 208 by 390. Hit compute, and fingers crossed this will work. There we go. So you can see that it's graphed it out for us, and it goes 208. So there's 200 by 400 to 208 by 390, and it's drawn it out. It's given us all sorts of properties we don't need, but what we really need is this. This is the formula. So y equals 650 minus 5x divided by 4. If you press the A bit here, you get copyable plain text on this. So you just want to copy that and save it for later. So I've just pasted that into a plain text pad document just to save it. Okay, because now we need the formula for the other line. Now this is the one we started at 300 by 400. So I'm just going to edit this here to have the new numbers in. So it was ended up at 307 by 390 as well, and hit compute. And here we have a different formula. This one's y equals 5800 divided by 7 minus 10x divided by 7. So again, hit copyable plain text. Get that and put it in there. Now, if you've done algebra at school, then this might be vaguely familiar to you, but don't worry, we don't have to solve this ourselves. Now, at some point, these two lines cross. Actually, on this chart, at some point, they'll actually cross over each other, and that's where the fortress is. So, at the point they cross, y will obviously equal the same number, and x will equal the same number. So what we're essentially saying is that they cross at the point where these two formulas will have the same result. And we can ask Wolfram Alpha to tell us what that is. So if I get rid of the y equals bit on both of them, and what I want is when they equal each other. So again, I just copy that, paste it in here, and hit compute. And fingers crossed, this will tell us the coordinates of the fortress. There we go. You can see it's plotted it on the chart. It's also given us lots of numbers there. Now, if you take your cursor up to this graph, and you'll see the only point at which it gives me a coordinate is when I hover over that red X, and it says 1000 minus 600. So that should be pretty close to the fortress. It may not be exact because of slight inaccuracies put in by not quite knowing where the thing was hovering, and the lines we measured were only like 8 or 10 blocks long, but that's going to be pretty close. And if necessary, when we get to those coordinates of 1000 minus 600, we could do this again, and because we'll be closer to the fortress, we'll be more accurate. So we've got a coordinate, an x of 1000, y minus 600. So the first thing I'm going to do is find out, well, first let's make sure I've got everything on me. I believe I do. Sword and everything else is in the ender chest waiting. Where's the sun? The sun's heading down, but I don't care. Right, first thing I'm going to do is find out, do any of my nether portals lead me closer to the fortress than my current location? So I'm currently at 200 by 400. So this is my sand quarry, so I just want to check on the coordinates of it in the real world. Oh, I've just noticed incidentally that all the stuff that Wolfram Alpha was doing was based on X and Y, whereas here in Minecraft we're using X and Z. But it doesn't matter, the maths is the same. So no, this is, I've got a Z of positive 500 and X of negative 247, so this is in entirely the wrong direction. But there's some other places we can check. So we're going to check by the village. And this looks a little more positive. Okay, so this is more in the right direction because Z is minus and X is positive. It's positive 300. We'll check the jungle, and then we'll check by the blaze spawner. No, the X coordinate is not as good here as it was at the village. Right, so we'll just quickly check at the blaze spawner. This way we're making sure that we're walking the shortest distance. We could also just go to the equivalent coordinates in the nether, of course. That's another thing we could do, is we could divide the coordinates we've got by 8. And that would tell us what the coordinates here in the nether are meant to be. Okay, so you can see here the X coordinate is pretty good, but the Z coordinate is completely out. So, I think I am going to grab some spare obsidian, and we'll find this place via the nether, because it'll be a lot less walking. Okay, I've grabbed myself 10 blocks of obsidian and a lighter. So this is relatively simple. In order to convert the real world coordinates to nether coordinates, you simply divide by 8. So I'm just getting a calculator up on my phone. So we have a coordinate of 1000 divided by 8 is 125. So that's only 100 blocks away. And a coordinate of, well, it's negative 600, so it will still be negative. So 600 divided by 8 is 75, so negative 75. So X goes up that way, and Z goes down that way. So we'll follow the paths we've already got as best we can. And it seems like it's off in that direction. So we can connect it to a proper path network later. For now, we just want to find it. Oh, X has gone too high. Should be X of 125 and minus 75. So we're pretty close here, actually. Glitchy block. Have to relog. It's a very annoying bug they've introduced to the game. Alright, let's put this floor back and get rid of the glitchy block. Okay, here we go. So these are the coordinates which we... Well, these are the coordinates in the nether which correspond to the coordinates which we determined for the fortress. So let's clear a little bit of space. I do love doing that. And we can make ourselves a little portal. Oh, no, that's the ender chest. Meant to get the flint and steel. There we go. A little bit of bread. And let's pop out back into the real world and check those coordinates. So this is brand new terrain it's having to generate because I've never been here before. There we go. Oh, pretty close. Oh, Must be this way. And this way. So, this is the spot we think it might be. I'm just going to mark it with that. Now these trees make a further ender throw slightly tricky. So we're going to go up in the air a bit. Okay, we're going to wait a little bit for the terrain to finish loading, because there's a big gap there that I want to go away. And then we're going to throw, and then we're going to take down these coordinates, 1000 minus 600, and we're going to throw the ender pearl again. Now, if it hovers over a spot and we go, right, that's it, we can just dig down. If it doesn't, then we'll go 100 squares in a direction, and we'll do it again. It's a very annoying unloaded chunk. However, if you take a closer look at that unloaded chunk, is it me or does that look like a fortress? That looks like a fortress to me. I'm seeing all sorts of passages and stuff. Right. 986 by minus 599. So we know it's off in that direction. So we want our next coordinate to be off that way. Now, considering we're so close, we can make our baseline smaller. So this is a baseline of 50. I've changed the Z coordinate by 50 points. Basically, the longer your baseline, the more accurate you're going to be. But when you're in this close to something, then you want your baseline to be a bit smaller. So this is 1000 by minus 550. And again, I want to get up above the trees. And we'll throw the ender pearl. So that's 987 by minus 551. And we'll do the coordinate trick again. Formula for line through 1000 minus 600 and through 986 minus 599. Right, so we copy the plain text version and save it. And we change our coordinates to the other one. Minus 550. Minus 551. Copyable plain text. Put it in there, get rid of the Y bit. And paste this in. And hopefully this should give us a coordinate pretty close to where we are. That's weird. It's now saying 662 by 575. By negative 575. Now that might have been the fortress we were looking at. Let's go find out. So I can either walk 400 blocks that way, or I could move my portal in the nether. I'm going to move the portal in the nether. Oh! No, I'm not actually, because if I destroy that, then I can't get back to the nether. And if I move the one in the nether, it'll probably reconnect to here anyway. Okay, we are walking 400 blocks. Now, strangely, this isn't towards the unloaded chunk where we saw what looked like the fortress. Maybe that was just an abandoned mine. Okay. Oh, these trees are getting in the way. Let's get ready to put the bed down. Okay, so it was a Z of 575. Ooh, wolves. And an X of 662. Okay, here we are, 662, 575. Let's see what the Ender Pearl has to say. So it's heading off this way. I think to this square. I'll go 50 in this direction. I'd have expected these things to angle towards each other a lot more. Oh, look, a village. Nice desert village. So, I'll run those numbers through the computational engine again. This is strange. It's still pointing us further and further away from our first set of coordinates. And these things still tend to be very, very parallel. Maybe we need a longer baseline. I'm going to go with a 100 long baseline rather than the 50 I just did. There's something very wrong here. Again, that just went off directly north. And it shouldn't. It really shouldn't. Okay, we're now 200 away from the first place we threw one of these ender pearls. And it just goes in a straight line that way. You know what? I don't think these ender pearls actually point directly towards the fortress. They can't do, otherwise the coordinates would... There's no way that with a baseline this long they would all just point that way. I'm rather disappointed. This coordinate method of doing this should work, and I don't understand why it doesn't. See, there really is no real change in angle. But we'll try this one. Okay, well, taking this 800 wide coordinate thing, the new coordinates are like 150 by minus 507, which is just so off what the first calculation was that it shows that the ender pearls in this are just not accurate enough. They just aren't. Which is rather disappointing. So it means that, you know, you can't find the Nether Fortress in that way. So I'm going to have to do it the... Why is there a zombie there and he's not burning? Oh, they're villagers. I thought you were a zombie. Yeah. Oh, well, there's a village here, so I'll spend the night here. This one doesn't have a door on, so they won't see it as a home anyway. I'm slightly disappointed that that method didn't work. If the ender pearls were a little more accurate, it would. There we go, the villagers are thinking, oh, that was the shortest night we've ever encountered. So I'm going to have to just follow the ender pearls, I think. So I'll simply throw it, and every 100 or so I'll give it a check.